everybody, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am super excited to be part of the Scrappy Shenanigans team this time for the Secret Not a Secret Kit Club Telephone Hop. And for the Telephone Hop, what we do is we all kind of get assigned to a team, and the first person on the team creates a layout or scrap lifts a layout, uses a sketch, creates some kind of layout, and it gets passed to the next person on the list. And from there, they create a layout and then pass their layout on to the next person on the list. But you don't get to see the layouts that happened before. So when we do the reveal of all of the projects in the videos over the course of this week, you'll get to see the progression of our layout as it goes from one person to the next, just like the telephone game when we were kids. And so today I am doing something a little bit different, and you will have to tell me if you like this or not, but I am sharing my layout with you in real time. So I didn't press the fast forward, I didn't speed it up. You are seeing some actual real-time creating. So I would love to hear if you like that for a change, if you find that interesting. All right, so for my project today, Becky went before me. So if you checked out her process video yesterday, you saw her make the layout that I have kind of covered up at the moment. There it is. So she's got two photos that are kind of centered in the top portion of the layout. And then she has a bunch of embellishment clusters and her title towards the bottom. The other thing that she did that I really liked in her particular layout is she used a fun pattern paper and put it with a little bit of a cardstock background around the edge to kind of close everything in and finish it off. So I've done something similar, and I've taken two papers from Chamel's Field Trip collection. One is that bright kind of bold polka dot, and then one is the turquoise that was just like a little bit of a wash. So it's not a plain cardstock, but it doesn't really have a lot of pattern to it. It just looks like a touch of mixed media, but you can't even really see that around the edge. So it gives the same look. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I took my two photos, and they are actually the same photo. And one of them is printed in color and one of them is printed in black and white. And then all I did with the black and white picture was use one of my photo editing apps that I love and colored in just his little rain boots. So these little rain boots belong to my son's little guy, and he was like, I cannot even express to you how excited he is about these little yellow rain boots. And he also has a little yellow rain jacket. But let's be real, you guys. Like, we live in Arizona, in the desert, and it really doesn't rain that much. But he keeps them right by the front door, because if it even looks like rain, he wants to know exactly where his little yellow boots are so that he can play in all the puddles. And so a couple of weeks ago, we had a rainstorm, and he called me like the most excited I have ever heard him in his life, because he got to use his little yellow rain boots and his raincoat, which is also bright yellow, and go play in the puddles. And it was just about the cutest thing that I've ever heard. So that's kind of what I am talking about and documenting in this particular layout, is this phase that he's in right now with these little yellow boots. And I will move it up on the screen, I promise. So what I'm doing at this point is I want to make a little shelf for my photos to live on. This is not something that was in Becky's layout, but it was just kind of the direction that mine took. So I put a little white cardstock border, like super tiny cardstock border, and then a yellow border around my photos, because I really want that yellow to stand out. Like, I'm going to use a yellow glitter alpha. The yellow needs to be there and like needs to play a part. And so I had shared over in the Secret Not Secret Kit Club group a picture of the supplies that I was using and my photos for this particular layout. And I got the most hilarious message, I have to tell you guys, from MK, who is one of our group members, who was like, okay, you pulled out all your supplies, you've got the little yellow boots, and you have that little boat, and it's up in the top of the screen that's made out of newspaper. And she's like, I just cannot even, I have to tell you that this so reminds me of Pennywise and the It movie. And we at my house have a ban on that movie because my children are like seriously terrified. Like, there are no words for how scared they are of Pennywise. So I have not seen the movies. We do not do the video clips. We don't like the trailers, keep them from sleeping for days. Like, it's a mess, you guys. So I don't know anything about this new It movie. And so she's telling me this, and it like seriously cracked me up because I don't have a clue. But the boat is not going to make it onto the page because as I'm working on it, it doesn't really fit with what I'm doing anyway. But then I just can't get out of my head that she's telling me that that's actually something that really reminded her of a scary movie. So it's not going to make the cut. But I had to tell you guys because I really did think it was hilarious. So I'm going to take this other paper from Field Trip and fussy cut a few of the cameras, and there's 3 different colors. Like, there's 2 that are cameras, so there's a mint and a yellow camera, and then there's a little red viewfinder. And I actually go back to my pattern paper pad because I end up wanting to have 2 of each. But at this point, all I'm going to do is worry about fussy cutting 1 of each. And then there's also this little beam that comes off of one of the, like, I don't know, space gun type things that says Explore. And I'm going to fussy cut that as well. So I'm just kind of peeking over that paper to decide if there's anything else that I want to use. So as I'm doing this voiceover and I'm watching, like, I feel like the video is in slow motion because I usually speed it up so that you guys, like, don't have to agonize over watching me. But what it has made me realize is that it forces me to talk a lot more. And I'm not a huge talker. I'm pretty shy for the most part. So I'm finding it sort of hilarious trying to record a voiceover for a video that is not sped up because I don't have all that much to say about the layout. So I kind of feel like I'm rambling, and I'm really sorry about that, you guys. So please don't all give me thumbs down because you're like, oh my gosh, shut up and stop talking. Like, just be kind in my craziness. So I am layering in some embellishments, and I'm going to put this Explore up in this top left corner. And I'm trying to kind of mimic the placement of some of the embellishment clusters that Becky used in her layout. I am not going to have as many as she has, just because I don't have a ton of embellishments that I actually wanted to use on this layout. But I really like the Explore and the rainbow and the sun in that top cluster. And then underneath my photos, I have where I have created this line using one of the branding strips that has stars. And I am super sorry that I haven't pushed the layout up yet, but I promise you I do. It's coming, and it would have come faster if I sped up the layout. So I have like this little sun in the middle, and then I have my 3 little fussy cut cameras. There you go. Now you guys can see what's happening. And so I'm deciding that I need to fussy cut 3 more to put on the other side because I want it to be more like a shelf and to have it all be even. And because I was going to have my embellishment cluster just on the one side, I didn't think I would need more, but I'm finding that I really want to have it go all the way across so that I have a mint, a yellow, and a red on both sides. And I do keep them in the same order so it looks very symmetrical. And I think part of the reason that I felt like I needed that on this particular layout is because the photos also duplicate. And that is a look that I really like, where I use the same photo on a layout twice. But because I have duplicated the photo, I feel like I also need to duplicate the embellishments down there on the bottom. And so I am just working on fussy cutting those particular elements so that you get all of them across that entire line. And of course, I'm off somewhere doing something. Oh, I'm fussy cutting, but I'm fussy cutting off screen. I'm so sorry, guys. This video is like seriously a mess. Like, what is wrong with me today? Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say. Like, watching things at regular speed is making me a little insane. I'm not gonna lie. It's crazy. So I know that my layout, much like Becky's layout, is going to have a longer title in that bottom kind of right-hand area. So I have that little die cut piece down there that says check me out that I've put so far. And my layout is going to end up saying give me all the puddles. But because that's a really long title, I'm not going to use just those really big glittery alphas because I feel like that's going to be way too much. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and pair it up with the navy blue, like little mini Paige Evans alpha, which that font is like seriously one of my favorite alphas, you guys. And so Give Me All the Puddles is going to be the full title down there in the bottom. And now you can see where I have all my little fussy cut cameras. I'm going to go back to the field trip collection and pull out the enamel dots that came with this particular collection. And I'm going to add just a few of those in each of my clusters. And so you can kind of see that I play around with where I want them to go. I'm going to move them around. I don't really know what I'm doing. I think I want all circles, but then I'm going to end up trading some out for stars. It's a little bit more tricky with this particular pattern paper. I don't know if you guys find this when you create, but it was a little bit trickier to put circular enamel dots on this particular layout because of the polka dots in the background. And so I wanted them there, and I wanted the extra texture that comes from adding the enamel dots, but it was a little trickier because it's like, they're not exactly the same size. So do you make them overlapping? Do you intersect them? Do you put them in the center? I ended up putting a couple inside like the viewfinder of my cameras. And then down here in the bottom, I end up grabbing the stars instead. And those are a little bit easier to use just because they're a different shape. So I did struggle a little bit with using the circular enamel dots, but when I switched to a shape, I found that I felt like it was working a lot better. So I am going to go back up to this top cluster and trade one of the circles for a star, just so that that element kind of continues throughout the layout. But that's basically going to do it for this particular project. So I am sure that you were going to tell me you did not really like seeing my video on regular speed rather than sped up, because it causes me to be a little bit loopy and babble a lot more than I usually would, or, you know, create off screen. But I hope you will come back tomorrow and check out what Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life creates based on my layout. And I'll see you soon. Bye, friends.